Welcome to PolyCast, an official podcast of Apolyton Civilization Site.
Daniel Quick.
Makahlua.
Imran Siddiqui.
Cartimandua.
With guest co-host, PimpyMicPimp.
Oh, that actually brings up a good point. Wes,
Yes.
do you know how to play Civ?
I think so.
No, now we're gonna have to ask you to leave. What's going on here?
Oh, you can't ask him to leave. Imran doesn't know how to play Civ.
You don't have to be good at it, because, obviously Dan's here, but you just have to play it once in a while.
Oh, I see.
Civ is the one with Master Chief, right?
Yeah.
Unprecedented almost on this show. We do not have to fight for who's going to do the introduction because Imran has volunteered
Dun, da, da.
weeks in advance.
Indeed.
Whoa.
Don't worry, Wes. I'm pretty sure it has absolutely nothing to do with you or anything.
Or your username.
We're going to use your username and then call you Wes, but if you want to be called Pimpy for the rest of the show, that's fine by me.
No, please don't.
Well, we have to call you at once so people know who this Wes guy is.
Yes.
Welcome to episode 54 of PolyCast, an official podcast of Apolyton Civilization Site. I am joined by DanQ.
So says Confucius. If you're a lying liar, does that mean you tell the truth?
Moving on. Cartimandua.
I have no wise sayings, or foolish ones either.
Makahlua.
I'm out of wise sayings today, too.
I'm Imran Siddiqui, and we are joined by our guest host, bow wow chicka bow wow, PimpyMicPimp. Oh yeah.
Here's a wise saying, don't name yourself that. Ever. Wise man thinks before he picks a username.
He's also known as Wes.
Death by UN vote.
I love this. This is awesome.
I agree.
Yeah, I guess in the UN vote, you can assign the capital to someone else, and then the owner of that capital has to decide whether to vote to kill himself or let him live. And apparently, in Upi's game, Hannibal's last city was assigned to him, and Hannibal decided to die and not defy the vote.
I thought that was pretty funny. I can't believe you can actually do this, but I also didn't believe that you could culture flip a capital, and you can do that. Doesn't seem very UN-y to vote to destroy a civilization, but who knows.
Is this a turn-off? Henyo 10 says, I get turned off when I play civs that are extinct, such as the Aztecs and Carthaginians, especially during the modern era where they don't fit in. How about you?
He's a weirdo.
I'm afraid you're very much alone.
He's obviously missing the point of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, I was hoping that Montezuma would be extinct in the year, 1500.
Well, he should just play Rise and Fall then. That's, like, exactly what he wants.
There you go.
So, There. Solved his problem. Next.
Good job.
I don't know. I think the game would not be nearly as much fun if Montezuma didn't come after me with tanks. If he could tech that far, it would be more fun.
That's right. This is what if, not what was.
That's boring, and we know what happens. Then because Canada wins when they invade America, because we've been building up our polar bear cavalry all this time. You'll never see it coming. Have I been on long enough to start making PolyCast jokes? Oh, good. This show sucks.
I think you've been on the show a little too long to have not been making jokes, actually. In the news, Civilization 4 Colonization released, and Civ 4 Call Game Diaries.
In the research lab, putting a new one during the game of the Large Hadron Collider.
In forum talk, why the space elevator is so confusing. What happened to culturally linked starts and texts you deliberately ignore.
The interview contains the second of a two-part interview with Ken Cartimandua about the Civilization 4 Beyond the Story Tri-League Tournament here on Apolyton.
Here's what's been making news in the Civ community. Civilization 4 colonization released into the wild.
Woo!
Anyone buy it?
I did, actually. I got it the other day.
Woo! How'd you like it?
I haven't finished my first game yet, but from what I've done, it's pretty good. The interface is very different, though. I think that's the most jarring thing.
Do explain.
I could try and describe this interface to you with words, but I don't think it would work out.
Oh.
I don't know, it's not bad, it's just different.
You don't know if it's better, but it's just different.
Yeah. I didn't play the original colonization, so I can't really compare it to that, but it's got a lot more focus on, like, economic side of the game, I guess, and I kind of like that.
Well, the people that used to playing Civ 4 and then to go into playing colonization, which is a bit different, it's probably culture shock a bit. It's like, I do what now? And since it's only been out, nobody's found the little exploits or strategies yet, so.
Well, that's how I was. Freaked me out looking at all the cotton, tobacco, and manufacturing stuff, and how to, like, build units. It was frightening.
You're like, what do I do with all this cotton and tobacco and, what?
I don't know if it will replace Civ for me, but it's a lot of fun. So yeah, that's my really bad review.
How many bananas do you give it?
I'll give it 4 bananas out of a sack of bananas.
Would you agree with Lufor Garrick, who says that colonization is supposed to be about the micromanagement for the simple fact that you only have a few cities? It's more dependent on maximizing each colonist and mixing and matching as well as developing solid trading where you get maximum value for each good?
Yes, that's a much more eloquent way of saying what I would say, so I'll just say yes. He is correct.
What did you think of the game manual? Some people have said that, oh, it's so lame, and I mean, it's nice and shiny, but there really isn't anything in it. And as other people have pointed out, the Civilopedia is your friend, and they prefer the Civilopedia. Now, I prefer the Civilopedia myself to the manual, but...
Well, I mean, I didn't even look in the manual, to be honest. I just installed it and started playing. And yeah, I used the Civilopedia. Although, the Civilopedia does seem to have a few missing links, though. Mention, like, ship of the line, and it's good about frigate, and you would think that you could just click on frigate in the ship of the line article and go to frigate article, but you can't in a lot of places, which is kind of annoying, but I'm sure that could be fixed pretty easily.
Well, I don't know how you could expect them to have hyperlinking technology. Anyway.
So, it's in stores everywhere. Go ahead and get it if you haven't yet.
And it won't devour your soul and ruin your family life.
Like World of Warcraft.
Oh my god.
Wait a minute. To destroy your family life, wouldn't you have to have one in the first place?
I guess, well, I mean, for people who weren't, like, spawned from the depths of hell.
Oh! Still on Civ 4 Call, Tom Chick has posted a series of game diaries. The first 5 parts are up. There Will Be Blood and Gold, The Incan War, Now I Have a Galleon, Ho Ho Ho, The God Machine, and the State of the Colonies address. The first part, 1492, second part, 1557, then to 1563 in part 3. No date for part 4, but part 5 gets us to 1644. The first part notes a distinction between treasure and gold. I don't think we've talked about that on the show before. Where, of course, you earn gold mainly by selling goods, whereas treasure is actually a type of unit. You find this unit among ancient ruins and burial grounds, but you're guaranteed a treasure when you conquer a native settlement. Maybe that should say if and when you conquer a native settlement, but anyway. Every treasure has a value ranging from a couple hundred gold to a few thousand, but to cash in your treasure you have to get it back to Europe. But if you hand it over to the king to transport, of course he'll take half of its value, or you can wait until you can get a galleon and build a galleon, and though this is an expensive and slow cargo ship, it will let you cash in the treasure for its full price, so short-term pain for longer-term gain. He talks about doing this early on, like within 50 years he will have 4,000 gold worth of treasure waiting to transport back to the old world. He takes on the Incans. He wasn't actually prepared for war. Apparently he stole their land a few too many times, and they declared war on him, the nerve, as he says.
As they are wont to do.
Yeah, he wasn't prepared. He said he'd recently bought a couple of pairs of cannons, but the cannons are sitting in another city cut off by the hills from any of his other settlements to the south, and these hills are now defended by Incans. So he isn't sure how aggressive the Incans are going to be. He gets his soldier to link up with his cannons, and they'll work their way south, taking out the Incan armies and destroying their settlements. One of his cities, Beaver Dam, is razed to the ground by an Incan attack. And then in 1562, his pair of cannons and soldiers take up a position in the hills. Now it's his turn to go on the offensive. He essentially, with the galleon in Part 3, lots of more raising and gaining treasure. In his battle with the Incans, he gets 2 advantages. He gets a great general, given all the fighting that he's had. And he also gets to recruit Hernan Cortez as a founding father, which gives him a free defense in every settlement. And soon he'll have enough points for Hernando de Soto, which gives soldiers a bonus when attacking settlements. As he says, quote, "I'm on my way to being a lean, mean, native killing machine," unquote.
Don't know if that's very PC.
No. He removes them from the map by conquering one of their larger cities, and then he decides he's going to settle down for a bit before attacking anybody else, and in fact builds God Machine, as he refers to it, by accumulating crosses to get people from the old world to join you. Gets a founding father that causes town halls, the basic buildings in any settlement, to gain 1 cross per turn. He gets himself a firebrand preacher, and then a second firebrand preacher. Then in 1644, he's got this huge city, 13. He's got converted natives, slaves really from the Inca, and he talks about how different settlements in his empire are doing different things, whether it's production or whether it's food. He says, "We're sitting pretty, our French neighbors," he's British, "our French neighbors are growing strong, but they don't have room to expand like we do. Among the European colonies, we're first in manufacturing, food production, land area, and pop." I like this part. "Of course, our standing is partly because the Dutch recently lost New Holland, New Amsterdam, and Fort Nassau to marauding Apache warriors. It is with the deepest and most heartfelt sincerity that I say to our Dutch neighbors, ha ha." Part 5 ends with him saying that we are mobilizing our 2 veterans of the Incan War along with 3 cannons to liberate the citizens of the Arawak settlements from their land. And Part 6 is to be published next week, and it will be called the Arawak Quagmire.
You know, that Incan leader looks very familiar, but I can't place my finger on where I could know him from. Got news? Email news@apolyton.net or send a private message to DanQ, Locutus, or one of the other news editors.
Come on into the research lab where we explore concepts that are not in Civ yet, but maybe in the future.
Over on CFC, Krauser started the thread, the Large Hadron Collider, which is the world's largest and highest energy particle accelerator complex, lies underneath the Franco-Swiss border. This is the real-life one, in case you're wondering. I think the best part about the description of this would-be wonder is that it has a shitload of hammers. Oh, yeah. Krauser also suggests requiring 2 power sources for this wonder, 25% plus spaceship production, 50% plus science for all civilizations, seeing as how, as he said, dozens of countries participated in the HLC. And indeed, you've got over 8,000 physicists from over 85 countries, as well as hundreds of universities and laboratories contributing it to in the real world. Plus 50% science for the building player, plus 25% production, minus 15% wealth, Civ-wide, I guess, because of the expensive maintenance, plus 10% culture, tourists, and very small chance of causing extreme natural disasters, as he puts it, quote-unquote, for flavor. I don't like that flavor. Can we have another one?
I don't like the taste of that flavor.
Well, we have that flavor in real life. I mean, it's a really small chance, but...
I prefer a Legion Steve's approach where, again, shitload of hammers, suggests that it be a world project and cannot be rushed. Still has the 2 power sources in there, so I'm assuming he's talking that the city could have hydro plant or a coal plant, depending upon what's available.
Or more appropriately, a nuclear plant.
So, yeah. Plus 10% spaceship production for every city, as opposed to a plus 25% spaceship production overall, and that's for the building player. Plus 10% science in every city for all civilizations, plus 100% science in the city that this is built, plus 25% city maintenance in this city, and plus 10% culture again, He also suggests +5 free scientist specialists in city. He also suggests minus 25% cost for enemy espionage missions in the city, because in the real-world version, apparently it's easy enough to shut the thing down by shoving beer cans up the tubes. I think the best suggestion Legion Steve makes, really, though, is getting rid of this very small chance of causing extreme natural disasters.
Make it a very large chance.
Yeah, because the way Civ tends to work, if you give it a really small probability, the random number generator tends to make that happen a lot more than it should. I mean, maybe that's just human observation, but anytime that something could happen, then you have like 20 nuclear meltdowns when you have had none before. I do like, if it was 100% science in the city or the free scientist specialists, either one of those would work. This second version's a bit more balanced.
Well, it probably comes so late in the game, though, that getting a bunch of free scientists isn't that big of a deal, I would imagine. So I'm guessing you're not going to get this in the Bronze Age or Stone Age or something.
Yeah, and towards that, with this, I wouldn't see having both the 100% science in the city or the plus free science specialists in the city, but I'm thinking, given that it is the later game, I think it'd be more worth for your while to having plus 100% science in the city that it's building, as opposed to 5 free science specialists in any city. If you had that in the early game, those science specialists, I think, are more valuable.
I think my favorite idea of this is how it would give science to all the civs. I just think that's kind of a cool mechanic.
Yeah, like if you build the Manhattan Project, then you allow countries other than yourself to be able to build nuclear weapons, barring the UN resolution afterwards that you can't do that.
Yeah, I guess. I think that one's kind of weird.
Fabian says, if anything, it should be a prerequisite to continue to advance in the tech tree, just like what it really is. No, thank you. That may be what it is in the real world, but if it becomes a prerequisite to continue to advance in the technology tree, and I'm assuming by that he's meaning future technology, then it would be really, really late in the game that you would see it, if you would see it. And actually, it isn't discussed in this thread what people would think requisite technologies would be. We can make some assumptions, but nobody actually puts forth any, which I thought was kind of odd. Or what about Sashabi 917's suggestion, where since a lot of countries participate, a team project or world project suits it better, it unlocks the tech tree for the postmodern era for all the living civilizations. Okay, yes, the Manhattan Project, as Wes pointed out, is kind of strange, but that would be even stranger to me.
That's just bizarre. I don't know how that would work. I don't think that fits in anywhere.
I think for the benefit of our listeners, we should do what we can to define shitload of hammers plus 500%! Woohoo!
I think we can all agree it should be over 9,000 hammers.
Yes. I think we're the only two that just got that.
Matt X says that I think you should have to wait 10 turns for any benefits. And then at that point, it is random whether it turns out to be a great scientific achievement, like plus 25% science in all your cities and plus 25% production of spaceship, a white elephant and only good for tourism plus 25% culture, or a huge waste of money and no benefit at all.
Well, nobody's going to build it if they make it like that.
I still might. I don't know if like a random chance for wasting your 9,000 hammers is really a fun mechanic in a game, though. It's kind of neat, but I don't know if it'd be fun. But then Civin is about fun, it's about serious business, right?
That's right. So in order to achieve building this, you must gather 1,000 hammers from your largest city, 2,000 hammers from your second largest city. Well, if someone were to implement this as a world project, it would certainly be a lot more useful than the internet, as it currently exists in Civ 4.
Okay, I was about to say in Civ 4, because like I said, the internet in real life is pretty damn useful.
Yeah, I use the internet occasionally myself.
It does have its negative side effects, like PolyCast, but you can't win them all.
This is Forum Talk, where we investigate hot Civ issues in the forums.
Space elevator is confusing. Steve says the space elevator says it can only be built at a maximum latitude of 30 degrees. What the hell does that mean?
It can only be built at a maximum latitude of 30 degrees.
It can't be at the equator.
Yes.
Well, Crichton says it would be wonderful if the dang map would actually show that magical line.
Well, that would be nice, because you think you're there, and then it goes, nope, can't do it. And you're like, I've specifically put that city there with all those things so we could build it and not take half the game to build it. But no, it has to be that jungle city down there that I don't have any production in that can build it.
Yeah.
Well,
This is when I miss caravans.
I think if they have that requirement, they should at least give you the knowledge of how the latitude and longitude of your world. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's kind of not set up very well. Someone should mod it.
Yeah, just a line on the map.
Well, 3 lines on the map, actually.
Yeah, equator and then the north line and the south line.
Well, there should be the equator, I think, at all time, and then maybe the north and south line as an option.
Yeah.
Because I think having it before you're able to build a space elevator would be kind of annoying. But afterwards, you can have the lines up there, and then you can say, all right, this city's in the right place.
Yeah, if you had that earlier on in the game, you could make Civ a more tactic game. I am going to attack you at 35 degrees. West, 120 degrees north. Damn!
Or I was going to stop at this point in your territory, but now I realize I need to get a little bit further south so I can build a space elevator.
Practically speaking, if you want to know whether or not you can build the space elevator, just see if in your city if you can build it or not. Joshua368 asks, am I the only one who doesn't really use the space elevator much at all? And that's true, I don't. Now, part of that is because usually somebody else beats me to it, but...
Yeah, I don't think it's very necessary to win a space race, but still nice.
Yeah, a lot of the time when I'm building it, I'm building some of the earlier parts alongside it while I'm building the space elevator just so I can get that discount off of the later, more expensive parts. They take 8 turns to build instead of 10, and that might be the little bit I need because somebody's trying to kill me.
You have built the space elevator, and now you can build space components at a 20% discount. Unfortunately, these discounted parts are of inferior quality. Your spaceship implodes. What?
Not fair.
This random event coming to you in Beyond the Sword Patch 3.666.
616. It was a transcription error. Oh, good old-fashioned culturally linked starts. Well, I guess we don't have that in Civ 4 because they didn't group everybody under culture categories like they did in Civ 3.
Yeah, I'm not missing it.
I didn't play Civ 3. What exactly was it?
It was crap.
Oh.
Civ 3 or the starts?
Total and complete crap, Civ 3.
Yes, the Civ 3.
Oh, man. Wes is smarter than all of us. He didn't play Civ 3.
Yeah, I know.
But for the rest of the people who are smart enough not to play Civ 3, the culturally linked starts thing is like where they put all the European-type leaders in one group and people from the Americas in one group and like that, and you could do culturally linked starts, so people that were in that same group, like say if you were playing England, you'd end up with like France and Germany starting beside you instead of having something odd like the Inca starting beside you. I actually think it's more fun if you have the Inca or somebody odd that's not part of that grouping type thing starting next to you. Because, hey, if you're China, do you want to start next to the Mongols all the time? I don't think so.
I guess it could be an option in case, like, some weird people want to do it, but I guess...
Yeah, as Frederick says, it was an option, so if you didn't like it, you didn't have to use it.
Texts you deliberately ignore. All of them because I don't play the game.
Mythadir started this thread, and he was saying, I was just wondering if I've missed any of these, but there are a few texts in the game I deliberately ignore in order in certain circumstances, and he clarifies saying, I'm not looking for useless texts, I'm looking for texts that if you magically pop them from a hut would be detrimental in some respect. Now, some people have interpreted this thread beyond what he said there about text that you don't even research yourself. You just say, well, not this technology because I don't research it, I trade for it. So in spite of that,
Well, that's not the same.
no, I think it's more interesting if we consider what text we skip altogether,
Yeah.
or at least we don't seek during trade. I mean, if you get it incidentally, well, so be it.
I don't want to take it back.
I think the craziest response of a tech that people don't want is someone who's like, monotheism, dead-end tech. Come on, gerrymander. You're going to ignore the organized religion civic for plus 25% building production in cities with a religion? You don't have to found a religion as long as you have one.
It's a pretty good civic. I wouldn't ignore it.
Yeah, well, what the heck?
Organized religion is the one I use the most.
Me too. Because it's like having a forge for buildings in every religious city.
Although I have had games a couple of times where I've been too busy warring on other people and I haven't bothered with religion texts, and I come back after I get finished fighting and I've got about three religions in there and I don't really have a majority, so if I switch to organized religion, that also means I have to pick one of them, and I have this scattering of neighbors with all sorts of different religions, and I don't want them to come trouncing on me, so...
It's so hard!
Yeah. It's not an every time thing, but a sometimes thing.
Situational.
Mm-hmm.
There were 4 particular technologies that I isolated from the tech tree that I'd think, well, I'd say this one, but then there would always be a caveat. I mean, at first glance, I'd say, oh, I'm not going to research philosophy, no thanks, except liberalism requires it, and I don't know why you want to skip over liberalism, even if you don't get to it first. Then I thought, okay, I'd say fascism. I'll just deliberately ignore that. Except, why would you do that when you will then not be able to build the Mount Rushmore National Wonder, which gives you minus 25% war weariness in all your cities? Some have said military tradition in this thread, yet, yes, it enables the blitz promotion multiple time attack per turn, the commando, which allows uses enemy roads, although as we've discussed it in previous polycasts, the commando promotion is kind of annoying because you have to get to combat 4 to even get to it. But with military tradition, you can get, in addition to grenadiers, which, again, situational, whether or not that's going to be helpful to you or not, you can build ships of the line with military tradition, with a plus 50% against frigates, and at least in Beyond the Sword, as long as you're not playing on a map that is pretty well devoid of water, or at least where water isn't coming into play, like if you're on a single continent. That's good to have some ships of the line in your naval arsenal, along with frigates. Why would you skip that? I thought, as I was going through the tech tree, I thought I had actually found one that I could say, even now, Beyond the Sword, 3.17 patch inclusive, I would skip this technology. And that was fission, except it's required for fusion, and you need fusion to be able to build the spaceship engine. Gosh darn it.
Oh, I know one you could skip. Always. Divine Right. It basically just found Islam, and you can build 2 wonders. You can build Versailles and the Spiral.
Minaret.
Yeah.
Well, unless somebody's already built it, I don't know why you wouldn't want to build Versailles.
Because, well, a lot of times, like, I'm busy getting pointy stick technology, because my sticks must get pointier and stickier, and then by the time I get around to it, it's already been built, and I just go take it.
And also with fission, if the Manhattan Project has already been built, and those weapons are still in play, you might want to be able to build some tactical nukes and or ICBMs of your own. Welcome to an interview segment where we hold conversations with key individuals in the Civ community. On Apolyton Civilization Site, we have the Beyond the Sword Tri-League Tournament. From episode 48 with DanQ, Makahlua, Cartimandua, Kijin, Lancer, and interviewee, Karch.
Ken, can you give us a general recount of your winning entry in any other games that you've played and completed?
Well, like I said, I'm a serial restarter, so to be honest, I haven't actually completed that many games apart from the tournament. What I do when I'm playing for myself is I kind of tend to explore things a little bit more. I get myself so far ahead in technology or whatever that I don't even bother finishing the game, because I figure it's going to just drag out and take me forever to finish. With the tournament games, I'm sort of forced to finish them out and take them to the bitter end, which is actually good.
When you single play, what level are you playing at usually that you get so far ahead?
It's the level above Warlord. Between Warlord and Prince?
Noble.
Noble, thank you. I haven't actually played anything except the tournament games in so long that it's been a while. Some of my more memorable victories, my favorite one was this theme game that they had where you were up against all of the American leaders and all of the British leaders. I started out with my exploration strategy, and I found that one of the leaders was sort of in this little closed-off area. I expanded really quickly to get him sort of buttoned into this little isthmus that he was on, and I just marched in and walked all over him. I wasn't able to wipe him out completely.
Yeah, Mr. Builder here.
Yeah, well...
Now the truth comes out.
In the early game, I find that's usually the only time that I fight, to get myself land. Because usually in these games, there will be 1 or 2 leaders that are really close to you, uncomfortably close to you, that'll tend to expand into your territory, not give you enough room to expand and build up a big empire. You have to sort of knock them down a couple of notches. And so in this game, It was Lincoln that was on this little area, and I beat him into submission, basically, and ended up with him as a vassal by the time the war was over. And I had stayed on good terms with all of the rest of the civs, and this was actually my first diplomatic victory that I've ever played in the game. I was going actually for a space race victory, but the UN came up, and I built it, and a few turns later, they voted me the winner. So it was kind of a surprise for me. But I had worked to stay on good terms with all of the civs.
So in the early game, you're building your war machine. That's
well,
you're a builder of a war machine.
I only go to war if I have to. I only go to war if I need the room to expand. For example, there was another game that was completely peaceful that was kind of a similar thing. This was an interesting game because it was on a really small map, so we were only up against 2 other civilizations. This map was kind of like a 3-lobed map, if you can imagine that. There was a big western lobe, and then we started out in the middle, and then there was a completely empty eastern lobe. And south of the player starting position was another civ that was getting ready to expand into the eastern lobe. So what I did with my quick expansion was just basically plop down a couple of cities and made it impossible for that civ to expand into this, basically 1/3 of the map. So I ended up having 1/3 of the map to myself, had plenty of resources, plenty of time to tech up, and get a comfortable lead ahead of the other 2. And I won a space race victory out of that one. And the interesting thing about that game was I was forced to be defensive militarily for a lot of the game, because that'll happen when you box in a civilization pretty tightly like I had. They'll want to try and take territory away from you. By the time this civ had got to me, I was far enough ahead that they were going up against superior units and they didn't really have a chance.
I'm going to remember that game because as you described it with the lobes, I immediately saw this giant Ferengi head in my brain.
Oh, Dan.
I should point out, actually, in that same game, though, even though it was a relatively peaceful game, I was forced to go to war towards the very end, because when I checked the victory conditions, the other civ, the one that had started out in the western lobe, was very close to a cultural victory. So I had to do like a blitz lightning charge in to take out one of the 3 big culture cities that they had. And that's basically all that I did. I went and I leveled that city and then I retreated, just to deny them the cultural victory. So I will go to war if I have to, but only if I absolutely have to.
So if someone else was to build the United Nations, would you go to war with them and destroy it?
No, I would probably try to make more friends. I usually stay on good terms with as many civs as I can during the game. So if someone else has built the UN, I would rely on my ability to be more friendly than them.
So along the same lines, would you be wanting to build the Apostolic Palace before that and hope for a religious victory?
Yeah, I've tried that in numerous games, and I have never had any luck getting a religious victory at all, even when I try to spread my religion around all over the map. I'm actually trying that in my current game. The map is an oasis map, and it's a flat map, so it doesn't wrap around or anything. So it's going to be easy to spread the religion around to everybody in the map. So I figured I would try and go for an Apostolic Palace early, got an early religion, and see if I can spread around and get myself voted the winner that way. But I haven't had much luck with that.
Wow, what a perfect segue that will be to the next question.
So have you had much luck in your current game?
Yeah, the current game, actually, it was a little bit disappointing because the recent update came out for the game. I actually have both the Steam version and the DVD version, but I have the Steam version installed currently, and the Steam preference that tells it to not update you automatically didn't work for me. So that kind of sucked because I ended up not being able to play in 2 of the tournament games because they were on the previous version of the game, and they use the lock assets option to make sure that you're playing the same version of the game that they created the save file on. So that was kind of a drag. I missed 2 games. But the current game that just came out this week, I started out yesterday, and it's playing as Saladin. It has a fairly good start spot for me because there's nobody really close. So there's plenty of room to expand. And like another game that I won a few months back, I got really lucky at the start of this game. And now you won't get this playing in the other levels of the tournament, but in Warlord level, you can get settlers out of goodie huts. So I ended up getting 2 settlers at the beginning of this game. So I ended up with 3 cities very early on, which put me ahead in score quite a bit very early. So I decided I would use that advantage to try and get to the Apostolic Palace quickly and spread my religion around. I get Hinduism early. I'll see how that goes. And if I can't spread my religion around and get an Apostolic Palace victory, I'll probably go for a space race. I should have a good tech lead by the time the Renaissance rolls around.
When you popped those settlers, did you move them closer back in towards where your current city or cities were?
Yeah, definitely, because they popped out pretty far away. I want to avoid upkeep bonuses from being too far away. So, yeah, I moved them back into spots that looked reasonably good. That's another thing about playing on novice level that I kind of enjoy. A lot of the strategy articles and things that I see on Apolyton revolve around doing some pretty serious micromanagement of things. You know, people will map out where their cities go, and everybody will control all their great people, you know, and diddle their specialists, make sure that they're getting the optimal amount of whatever they're looking for in an individual city. The one thing I like about playing novice is you don't really have to do that. You're playing on warlord level. You can leave a lot of stuff automated, and I find the game a lot more relaxing that way. I will sometimes switch the governor to production or switch the governor to great people, but I almost never control specialists myself. The one bit of micromanagement that I do is workers, because I don't like the way that the automated workers cover everything with roads. It just looks ugly to me and seems wasteful. Settlers, I usually will go with recommended city placement spots, although, you know, I am smart enough to recognize when there's a spot that's better than one that it's giving me. But usually it's easiest to just go with the recommended spots that are near to the cities that you already have established. And so that's what I did with these settlers in this recent game. I brought them back home to the start city, and I used a couple of recommended spots that were near to the start city.
Ken, is the diddling of specialists entirely legal? How much of your success on a percentage do you say is just getting lucky?
I can think of 2 games for sure where there was a lot of luck involved. In fact, the most recent game, getting 2 settlers from Goody Huts early in the game, I mean, that's just pure luck. And I think if I do well in this game, that'll be the main reason. Getting that many cities early in the game is just a huge, huge advantage. That's kind of another reason why I almost feel a little bit bad playing Warlord difficulty, because getting that much of an advantage that early almost feels like cheating to me.
Yeah, you should feel terrible guilt.
The flip side is when you play at the higher difficulties, you really have to do a lot of that micromanagement that I hate doing, so I probably wouldn't be having as much fun if I was trying at the higher difficulties. But I don't know, maybe 10%, 15% of the games boil down to just pure luck at the beginning of the game. But I guess it's not entirely luck. You also have to know how to exploit those early advantages that you get. You know, just because you get a settler early on, like Dan mentioned, if you plop down a city right where you got the settler, you kind of negate a lot of the advantage that you just got.
Well, thank you very much, Karch, for coming on and talking to us about the Tri-League tournament, and for listening to the show, and for letting Matt and Rob know what they're doing wrong. Oh, wait, no, you didn't go on and on and on about that, and I just edited it out? No.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Call in today.
In North America, the number is 301-637-7659. That's 301-637-POLY. In Europe, 44-121-288-7659. That's 44-121-288-POLY.
You can Skype us at the PolyCast or email us at polycast@apolyton.net.
For more information on PolyCast, our sibling show ModCast, or about PolyCast in general,
log on to the series' official website at polycast.apolyton.net. Hit the road, Jack.
What you say? Don't come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't come back no more.
Yes, Jack Thompson got disbarred from Florida.
For permanent this time.
Well, of course, that doesn't mean he can't hire, like, another lawyer, but...
Yeah, but who else is that insane that would actually get hired by him?
Oh, do you have to ask? He lives in Florida. Remember what happened in, like, 2000 there? I mean, come on.
Oh, baby, don't treat me this way. I'll be back on my feet someday. Okay, if you do, cause understood. We ain't got no money, just no good. Well, I guess if you said so, I better have to pack my things and go.
you're wondering, what the heck? Earlier this year, a Florida judge recommended that the inflammatory lawyer known as Jack Thompson be permanently disbarred for a prolonged pattern of misconduct and multiple violations of Florida bar rules. The Florida Supreme Court ruled today, that being September 25th, embracing that recommendation, permanently disbarring on Thompson. And as Imran alluded to, Thompson has a chance to appeal this, but another member of the Florida bar in good standing must sign off on the motion before the court will consider it.
Yeah, where's he going to find that person?
No one's gonna do that.
Allow me to be the first to say this is a victory for humanity.
You know, though, the hit the road Jack is what Mackie phrased it as, and of course that's what we would be singing to Jack Thompson if we had the opportunity. Perhaps. But you see, I think it's only fair that we should allow Jack Thompson the opportunity to respond with his own song. But I don't know about his creativity. I don't know if we really want to have him select the song. So I found a song.
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh.
I think Jack Thompson probably could be able to cover, and it would be something that he could speak from the heart, because it is very truthful, and he could say it with all honesty. Jack Thompson, this is the song for you.
How did you come to this PimpyMicPimp thing?
Well, it's a really funny story. It's actually not a funny story at all. It's a really dumb story. When I was like a little kid, I watched some cartoon, and there's a character named PimpyMicPimpenheimer. It was like a one-time character, and I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. So when I started going on the internet, that was my handle.
Was this like a cartoon that's suitable for children?
No.
Didn't think so.
So I probably shouldn't have been watching it, but I did anyways. And then, yeah, I just started using it.
You rebel.
Yeah.
You've been listening to episode 54 of PolyCast, an official podcast of Apolyton Civilization Site. I am When I'm not stuttering, I'm still Makahlua. With me as usual is Imran Siddiqui.
Ah!
What?
What kind of a goodbye is that? And also with me was Cartimandua.
I'm too young for this show.
So am I. Oy. And our guest co-host this time was also known as PimpyMicPimp.
I'm so happy I got to hear you say that.
If Imran can say it, so can I.
No, you gotta say it with an affectation. That PimpyMicPimp.
I'll leave that to the expert.
Bringing new meaning to the expression, come on, get happy.
Wait, there's another meaning to that phrase?
That was pretty self-explanatory.
And with us making bad jokes as always is Dan Quick.
Sayonara.
Dun 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 dun.
I think I've heard most of PolyCast, so
Holy cow.
I know how you guys work.
Do you have a sickness?
Ooh,
Whoa.
we're going to the moon.
I think I got the hang of this. I just coughed, but I muted it.
Oh, okay. For a moment, I thought you dropped the mic in the toilet. I was.
No, that's Imran's job to take things we can hear into the toilet.
No, shh.
Where's the beep?
He edits that in.
Oh my goodness.
Just for you, though, it has a beep load of hammers.
Sit for call to say it loves you.
Well, I'm glad to know that you've thought about the oh, never mind.
Repercussions?
That's the word. You forgot the beep.
Oh, you're right. We'll provide a load of hammers. Beep. Oh, wait. It's a
Oh.
little late. Sorry about that.
I feel bad for Dan, because editing this, there's going to be like a bunch of beeps and cut out stuff, and then just laughter.
Oh, this is normal.
Record date
September 27th, 2008.
Sound clips copyright of Civ 4, Warlords, and Beyond the Sword expansion packs.
Hit the Road Jack clip by Ray Charles, copyright ABC. Apple by Dennis Leary, copyright Dennis Leary.
Copyright 2008, Apolyton Civilization Site at apolyton.net.